corruption, and the lack of political will. This is the elephant in the room. The report cites corruption within the police and judiciary extensively, with examples including police demanding bribes for P3 forms, evidence tampering by investigators, and witness intimidation. However, the proposed solutions focus on training and funding, which assumes good faith actors, and not addressing the systemic corruption that will certainly divert any new resources. This is a massive failure of moral courage and political will. Corruption in cases of violence against women and girls is not a training deficit. It is a systemic moral failure that destroys survivors' trust and enables impunity. Every day when the state plans to act but doesn't, intends to arrest murderers of women and girls but doesn't, delays and defers investigations, fails to prosecute perpetrators, and refuses to implement the existing legislation and policies, it perpetuates femicide. Providing more resources to corrupt systems just makes them better funded corrupt systems, not better systems. The report seems to acknowledge this insufficient political will and proposes declaring femicide as a national crisis as a solution. This in a country where drought has been declared a national disaster multiple times, yet famine still continues. The report skirts around the entrenched practice of police and prosecutors avoiding the appropriate charges when charging men who commit violence against women and girls or femicide, courts disregarding mandatory sentences and instead handing down illegal light sentences, and the refusal to employ existing tools and avenues to ensure that women and girls get justice and support. Moses Njoroge, who threw a woman out of the 12th floor of a building, was charged and convicted for causing grievous harm, which carries a mandatory life imprisonment term per section 234 of the Penal Code. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Father Dominic Mulunzioka was convicted of indecent acts with a child and was sentenced to probation and monthly sermons on the Sexual Offences Act. Yet the law provides for a mandatory 10-year imprisonment sentence. The Protection Against Domestic Violence Act of 2015, for example, is barely implemented. This entire report invisibilizes state incompetence and approaches femicide as a citizen failing instead of a system failing. Femicide can and does only exist because of the deliberate inaction and non-implementation by the state of existing laws and policies. The femicide crisis is as a result of state acquiescence and sanction, and declaration without enforcement mechanisms is just pointless symbolism. This report provides no accountability for implementation failure, no penalties for ministries, departments, and counties that do not do their job. It is ineffective.